this video, you are going to learn about the result count property so that by the end of the lesson, you will be able to use this property within your test steps. You will achieve this objective by looking at what result count is, and for that, we'll take a look at some real examples. We will then also look at when and why it can be helpful, and we will finish the lesson by looking at where you can find this functionality in Tosca and how you can use it. So let's begin by having a look at what result count is. Result count is a property that enables you to count how many times a certain value or item appears within an HTML page. For example, here in the demo web shop, you can use result count to find out the number of orders in the order history. Keep in mind that you could also use row count and column count for tables. However, result count offers you a lot of value as it counts the occurrences of a particular value independent of its position. You may want to use this number to take action elsewhere in your test case. Some examples of that could be repeating a step a dynamic number of times, going to the last item in a list, or verifying that there are as many items as were expected. You can use the result count property in the properties section of any test step value field. The properties field is where you have selected inner text property previously. There are numerous other properties you can manually enter into this field, but for now, we are going to focus on result count. This property is most useful when trying to buffer the number of objects that may appear on screen multiple times, such as a generic div or a checkbox. To understand how to use result count, let's get back to our example. On the orders page, you have a list of all orders placed so far. If you want to verify the number of orders that have been placed in the system, you can use result count. Now, using what you've learned previously about dynamic identification, you can create a module that treats all of these orders as similar generic items. So when you tell Tosca to find the result count, it will return the total number of items that match that criterion on the page. This was done by setting the inner text to order number column asterisk. If this control was uniquely identified, its result count would always be 1, because by definition, there can only be 1. This is why the control must be generic. And now that you have a generic control to work with, you can type result count into the properties field along with the name of the buffer you want to store the count in. Once you have entered the result count and named your buffer, you'll want to set the action mode to buffer. You can also use result count in conjunction with the action mode verify if you already know the number that should be present. And this brings us to the end of this lesson. Now you are able to use the result count property within your test steps. Put your knowledge to test